Good morning, everybody. Glad you could tune in. Hello, Jan. Nice to see you.
Hey, Steve, how are
I,
you?
myself, and Jan will be back with you momentarily. And we're back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Jan, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you so much for having me on again.
You're welcome. Um, I know on my last live, I had a couple of uh, comments, people asking me for a couple of recipes. And like I said, I've been going through some issues with my, a sprained left foot, and then, now my knees and my upper legs, all of a sudden I feel like I've gone from 46 to 90 in a matter of days. But of course, I'm taking my ibuprofen and I'm doing my calcium
Where
magnesium.
do you hit 62?
Um, my mind may think I'm 30, but I know I'm not. What I'm here for is I want to go ahead and verbally give the recipe for the chicken adobo, and I also want to give the recipe for the lentil soup that I mentioned that I was going to put in the description box that I never got around to. The lentil soup is pretty easy. All you have to do, I do it one of two ways. I take my favorite spaghetti sauce. I usually take 2 to 3 tablespoons of it. Again, it depends on how much lentils you're cooking. I usually do about a half a bag of lentils. It yields about 2 to 3 servings. And I will take 2 to 3 tablespoons of spaghetti sauce and put it in my lentils with some olive oil, a little bit of spices, and I'll cook it probably a good 30-45 minutes. You may want to add water to it as you go along to keep it from sticking and drying out. And then as I cook, I like to add a little olive oil. I love the taste of olive oil. And one of the olive oils that I like to use, I will go ahead and show you. It's been in my family for some time. I use the Pompeian, the Robust. That's my go-to olive oil.
Has a familiar look to it, my family.
Well, again, there's probably other olive oils out there you can use, but to me, that seems to have the best texture and flavor. The other method, my mother's method, lentils, water, olive oil. Now you're going to take a medium-sized potato, peeled, and put it in the water, and 2 small Roma tomatoes and put down in there with it. And you're going to add your water, as I mentioned. You're going to add your seasonings and your flavoring, and you're going to boil it 30-45 minutes. Of course, you may want to add water, olive oil as you cook, as you go along, because for some reason, lentils likes to dry out. I don't know why, but it does. That's a couple methods that I go by. The chicken adobo, again, it depends on how big your family is. You need a pack of drumsticks. You put it in a pot, add your water, bring it to a boil, you cook it. While your drumsticks are cooking, over here on the side, you're going to get a medium-sized frying pan, 10-12 inch, medium-sized onion, yellow onion. You can use Vidalia if you like. Cook that. Let it go a little bit. Then you add your garlic. Cook that. You're going to add in mushrooms. That's optional. You don't have to have it. And then when that's done, everything is cooked. By that point, 20-25 minutes, half hour, your chicken legs or drumsticks should be cooked. You're going to take your drumsticks and add it to the the onion, garlic, mushroom mixture. You're going to add soy sauce. You want to cook it like on low, medium heat, and you're going to add soy sauce, and you're going to roll everything in together. Keep adding the soy sauce until you see, the color of the chicken turn. And you might do that for about 10, 15 minutes. Of course, you want to add soy sauce to your liking. Of course, you don't want to go too soy sauce-y. Then you're going to get, too salty of a finish. But you'll see it. You want it to turn, the soy sauce brown. You'll see it, and you just keep rolling it, mixing it in. And you can always add that to your favorite vegetables. You can add a starch to that, a bed of rice or, or mashed potatoes, whatever you want. So there are so many different methods of soup out there that you can use. I mean, it even goes back to just a basic thing. Another thing I like to do, this is kind of like a lousy, slouchy way of doing it, but it's very good. Take your favorite canned soup, and if you have ramen noodle, if you want something really quick, or maybe a good vermicelli or a thin spaghetti, whatever pasta you want, and you can just add your pasta to the soup mix, and voila, you've created like a vegetable beef or whatever whatever you want. That there's little tidbit easy way outs, and that's about what I have as far as soup goes. As far as being on a budget. I think, Janet, you said you had a few.
Well, I have actually published a couple of videos of my own homemade soups, but there are 3 kinds of soup. One, like Steve just mentioned, an intentional soup recipe. You have a specific recipe, right, Steve? Okay, that's an intentional soup. The next one is what I call refrigerator leftover soup.
Oh,
because we're frugal minded and budget minded. Who isn't, right? Who doesn't want to save a penny or two? Don't ever throw away your leftover vegetables or anything. Instead of that, clean off the plate, put it into its own separate container, let's say starting on a Sunday, okay? Mm-hmm. And then by the weekend, you will have established more than you realize, whether it's scraps of meat, scraps of potato, scraps of mixed vegetables. Put that together in a pot, and you got yourself an unintentional soup, healthy, didn't waste anything. And that's really a wonderful option. And this is a special month, isn't it, Steve?
Right. From what I understood, it's National Soup Month. I think January is the month. Yeah. I actually never knew that. I just recently found that out. I didn't realize it was
January is National Soup Month, and with good reason. I mean, a lot of people in a lot of regions are cold. What could be more welcoming than a beautiful pot of soup? And you know what else is interesting, Steve? A soup could be its own meal, or it could be a component of a recipe to another meal.
It can. Mm-hmm.
Remember what you mentioned to me, that recipe ingredient with the dried onion soup? What did you do with that?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that back up and to my attention. French onion soup mix. You can not only can you use French onion soup in its exact form and make a soup from it, and of course you can add to it and make it something else. Another couple of varieties that I've done with French onion soup mix, you can add it to hamburger meat. Oh my gosh. If you ever want to eat one of the nicest natural oniony flavored tasting burgers, put some of the packet of the French onion in the hamburger meat. Or another good thing, if you don't want to do the tomato sauce oatmeal method of the meatloaf, well, maybe you do, add some French onion to that.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And it creates
absolutely wonderful in dips with sour cream.
Dips and
sour cream. Soup mix in the sour cream. It's just a wonderful dip. There was, I don't know if it still exists, but at least in Manhattan, in the New York City area, at least definitely back in the 70s, probably in the 80s, there was a restaurant based on that recipe alone of adding the soup to the burg. Anybody in the New York area knows where I'm going with this. Adding the soup to the burg without naming the place. Soup to the burg. And there were like a bunch of them throughout New York. And can I tell you, based on that recipe you just described, that place was a gold mine. It was always swamped with people because the burgers was just so good. You could take a simple component of soup. And I have to tell you something. I used to call this recipe Janet's Magical Meatball Soup. Why did I call it magical? Well, of course, the word magic is always debatable, right? But it was cute, so I coined it that. And basically, and you have the basic recipe to it on one of the videos. I'll try to find it, and I'll send it to you, Steve, to link up if you'd like. Basically, whenever I got a really bad cold, Steve, every time I'm just saying me, I'm not proclaiming this, not saying it's medicinal or anything like that. My experience with that specific soup for me, Janet, whenever I made it, I felt much better. Don't ask me why. My body just loved the ingredients, and it just works so well. And people proclaim that with chicken soup too.
Oh.
In this case, it was with plain, like the meatballs are not made like the regular meatball recipe. The meatballs are miniature meatballs, basically, with simply Parmesan cheese and garlic powder. And you make them like tiny. You only need like maybe a quarter of a pack of hamburger meat. It's so budget friendly. And then you beef it up with the carrots and the onions and the celery and a 8-ounce can of tomato sauce and a couple of bouillon cubes, and you put whatever you like maybe like some, small pasta like ditalini or something like that. The ditalini is very good like that. Yeah. Whatever you have, it's really, really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's see, what do I want to do? Okay, I want to come over here to the comments. We have a couple tuning in this morning. Let's see, your cousin Lee. Good morning, Lee.
Hi, cuz.
She says, good morning, Steve and Jan. Yum. When friends make soup, the worry of stockpiling lessens. Thinking about the childhood story of stone soup.
My mother loved that story. Your Aunt Viola loved that story, cuzzy.
Oh, good morning, Rose B. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's so kind of you.
Hi, Rose.
Yeah, and again, I also mentioned, in the title of my live, I did mention, about money-saving tips. Again, one place where the money-saving tip comes into play, you don't necessarily have to buy, again, we talked about this in the past, but I'll bring it up again. You don't necessarily have to buy a name brand thing. You can get store brand. You can go to a place like Aldi where you get your groceries, at a discount, and you don't have to buy name brand. You can get generic store brand, but do read the ingredients. Read the sodium, read the cholesterol, the fat, calorie. You have to look at the whole picture. Make sure you're getting, 95% at least, or 90% at least, the same item. You don't want to buy, if it has too much artificial and junk in it, I certainly don't want to put that in my food. Imagine what it's doing.
That's the soup you make from scratch, because if you're on a low sodium thing, you can that's the beauty part, right, Steve? When you make your own from scratch, if you're on a low sodium thing, by all means, you could skip out, unless you want for convenience a low sodium version. Make your own low sodium version. Why should you pay extra money for a low sodium? Water is water. I mean, I'm just saying, it's a blank canvas. Use as much as you want or as little, and just tailor it to your needs.
Think about this. When you make a pot roast, don't throw the juice out. Save the juice. Okay, the next day you're going to have fat come to the top. Well, you can always rake that off.
Right.
Guess what? You have a natural beef broth. You can't get more natural than that. Okay. That's one. And that is And that is real good over pasta with a little Parmesan cheese and a little pepper. I'm just throwing out another recipe. That's also good. Or if you do a roasted chicken or a small turkey roast type thing, again, rake the fat off. You have natural broth. You don't have to go buy. I mean, you can go to the store and get low sodium bouillon cubes or little packets. Yes, they sell it. But nothing is better than the actual broth or juice from the actual.
Great point. Great
eating.
point, Steve. Great point.
Right.
Right. And the cost of soup could go from the sublime to the ridiculous. But if you have a family and you're on a tight budget, nothing is better than, at least especially in the colder months. I mean, why not take advantage of it? Make one big pot of soup, let's say, for example, on a Sunday, okay? You could share that couple, 3 different meals throughout the week. The other thing to do is make a roast. You could share that couple, 3 times a week. You have 6 meal components. And like Steve just mentioned, with that roast, for the next possible soup, the fat, the flavor that is rendered, take it away, put it into one of those little sealing cups. Voila, you're done.
Yeah, the broth, not only put it in pasta or over pasta, you can take that broth. Oh, I have done this. I mean, I know you have like chicken broth, Swanson, and all these different brands that come in the store. But again, if you're cooking, whenever I don't entertain a whole lot, very little lately here in the last few years, but whenever I did entertain, I always like to cook my food a little bit on the bland side, only because I don't know what somebody else's diet is.
That's very thoughtful.
I would rather cook my food on the bland side and let that person flavor it to their liking. I don't want to be the one to flavor it because I could put something that, they say that their doctor shouldn't have, or something, because of high blood pressure or cholesterol.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Steve, I'm wondering, a couple of commenters, Lee, if you're still there, just wondering, what is your favorite homemade soup to make? Just curious. Lee's my cuz, just saying. And anybody else, Rose, if you want to mention yours. Wonderful, wonderful viewers. Thank you.
Hi, Linda Olson. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, good morning, Sharon. Nice to see you. Yeah, that's a good question. What is some of your favorite soups? Me, I mean, I'm pretty well rounded. I mean, of course, we all like the traditional chicken noodle. I do like a good vegetable beef soup from time to time. Of course, I like from my ancestry, I like a good minestrone. Of course,
that's good. That's good.
This is an interesting one. It's not really a soup. And you're going to know what it is because you pretty much have to be in the Italian mentality. Pasta fagioli.
Otherwise known by everyone else as pasta fagioli. No, you're right. Pasta fagioli. That's right. No, you're saying it properly.
It's not really a soup, but you do have your beans, you have your pasta. Yeah. It's all, So, okay, let's see. Granny Prepper's favorite is chicken noodle. You can't go wrong with chicken.
Good morning, Granny Prepper. Chicken noodle, yum.
I mean, what is it about chicken noodle? They say that chicken noodle, when you're ill, when you're down,
it's comforting.
It's like the go-to soup. You eat chicken noodle, you feel so much better.
Did you ever notice when you don't feel well, for some reason, you gravitate towards it? You want it. It's like your body's like going, make it. That's why it's not a bad idea. Listen to this one. You probably did this yourself, Steve. If you ever make chicken soup in general for your family, doesn't hurt to make a little extra, put it in maybe ice cube trays or whatever way you intend to freeze it for those days when you are ill. You don't want the canned one, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you prefer the one you make from scratch. Just take it out of the freezer, defrost it immediately in your nuke or on the stove with a little water. You got your soup back when you're not feeling well.
Right.
That's when you need it most.
One thing that I'm guilty of is whenever I have a soup, I even like stews. I might want to
Yeah.
think about maybe at another time, maybe
Oh,
talking
that's a good idea. Yeah, do
about
a stew
stews,
show. Yeah,
stew
yeah.
mixes. Anytime I do a soup, I like to sprinkle a little Parmesan Romano. I do have a good Kraft 3 cheese blend
Yeah.
cheese. I'm not really sure what's in it.
Oh, there are definitely 3 cheeses in that. That really, I just want to mention, ironically, we had discussed doing a soup show a couple days, as Steve mentioned, but ironically, Lynn Wilson of the At Home with Lynn Wilson channel, yesterday she has a fabulous video regarding soup.
Oh, okay. I'm
And
gonna
she
have
does
to
the
tune
recipe
in.
right then and there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to tune into her station or channel and
Yeah.
watch
Oh,
it.
you love it. You will love her. You will love it. I mean, I can't say enough. And nobody's telling me to do this. I want to do this because I like directing my folks to good channels like yourself
Mhm.
and Lynn and Patty and Debbie and Ellen.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so Rose B happens to mention in the comments she knew that I was going to mention pasta fagioli. Okay. Yeah, it's funny that, you thought that. Um, but I haven't had it in quite some time. I think the last time I had it is when my mom made it, but it's so good. It's a good, most if you're
And there's a national brand company. The letter begins with P and the ends in O. I'm not saying the name because I'm not doing a product review and I'm not doing a sponsored ad. That company puts out a fantastic lentil soup for those that maybe they're not well at all and they just barely can open the can. It is like well prepared. And you know what I do? Guess what, Steve? My mother taught me this recipe. This is such a cool recipe. You know what? I'm not going to say this recipe. I'm going to save it for a video later. I'll tell the folks later.
There you go. No, I know the brand you're talking about. I believe I might have just mentioned it a few minutes ago. If I did, again, I do not own the rights to that name. If I
Oh
just
no,
want
no, that's totally fine.
to, let's see. I want to come back to the comments. Granny Prepper says our family loves Pozzoli, Pozole.
Oh, is that a soup brand, dear?
Yeah. If you could reiterate, I'm trying to think what that is.
Unless it's an oil brand or something.
Okay, well, I'm glad again, I'm glad that, you know, Granny Prepper, Sharon, Linda, Rose B, they all tuned in this morning.
Wonderful, wonderful
So
people.
kind of them.
Absolutely.
Yes,
You
yes.
know what? I just have to throw this in. One of the greatest joys that I personally have going live is I get to interact, and you do too, with some of the greatest people on planet Earth. They are so kind to take the time out of their day to come and hang out, and we share a thought and exchange. And as the time goes by, we get to know each other a lot better.
Hmm.
Videos are nice, and we need them. We upload, of course, in between. But when we can do a live whenever we can, and the ones that show up, thank you so much.
Yeah, I really appreciate. Okay, Granny Prepper says it is a Mexican soup.
Oh, teach me, teach me. I don't know that, dear.
That has to be nothing but good.
Yeah,
I like Mexican food. I'm not
yeah.
gonna say I like all Mexican food because some Mexican food can be a little on the spicy side. So,
Hmm.
and I like a certain level of spice because you can be overkill on it.
So
I
you
don't
think
want
you
to
throw the
bite.
spices, I'm assuming, on that Pozzoli one?
Right.
Probably.
I don't like it so hot. You take a bite. You have to take a sip of water. A bite. A sip. A bite. A sip. No, that's too hot. But I'm gonna have to look into that Pozzoli. Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah, you see, you learn something new every day.
yeah, yeah, you do. You do. But again, the money saving tips that I was going to include, like I said, I mentioned it earlier, is
Yes.
check your prices. You don't always have to buy the brand name. Buy the store bought. If you have 2 or 3 different ones of something, look at it. If you can save a quarter, 30, 50, 80 cents, along the way, and then another 30 over here, a dollar, 20. If you wind up saving 5, 6, 8, $10 in your grocery bill, in addition, And if you're a coupon person, then you're just going to save even more money. That helps.
Yeah, it just takes, a slight amount of effort. And nowadays, it's so much easier. You could literally just go online and scour through the price comparators. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to wait online that long, but all you have to do is go online to compare prices. It's not like 25 years ago.
No, you had to physically go in the store and look at the
Waste a lot of gas mileage, waste a lot of extra effort.
right, right.
Ridiculous. You just like fractionalize it the time.
One of the wholesale club memberships that's out there, one of the wholesale club, pretty well known.
Yeah.
10, 12, 13 years ago, they had coupon books. You had to snip the coupon out and you would scan it at the register.
Yeah.
When I became a member again, a few years back, 3, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, I can go on their app. And if I want to clip the coupon, I just tap the scissors, the little scissor indicator, it checks.
Yeah. Okay.
What I do is I go through the store, I pick out the item. When I go to check out,
Yeah.
the deduction comes off at the bottom automatically.
So basically, take advantage of your local store cards.
Well, this is on their app. You go to
on
their
the app. Yeah.
and all you're doing is you look. If you see something you like, you just tap it and check, and when you go to check out, immediately, if you bought that item, immediately at the bottom, that discount's going to come off $2.
That's a lot more pleasant than sitting around with an actual scissor and snipping, and that's great.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, Granny Prepper. It has many recipes depending on what part of Mexico it's. That makes sense. I guess that's true. For example, I know from the past, I know like Spain and Italy. Northern Italy, central, southern Italy, and of course, if you go Sicily, where my ancestry is actually from, different parts of Italy, different parts of Spain, they all have a slightly different method of preparing. They're not exactly the same.
Isn't that amazing?
You think, oh, spaghetti sauce. Well, yeah, but depending on where you're at, northern, central, south, even Sicily, whatever, northern, central,
Slight cultural differences in cuisine preparation. Yeah.
Everybody said that, like when it comes to spaghetti sauce in the Sicilian world, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true. They say the Sicilian likes a thick sauce. If you can stick a spoon, a wooden spoon in your sauce and it stands up,
then it's done. No.
But you know what? I have learned something along the way with spaghetti sauces. Again, you can use it as a thickener in pretty much anything. If I ever make spaghetti sauce and it's not thick enough, I just add cornstarch to it.
That's a thought. Some people put a potato. I like your thought. That's great. Some people put instant mashed potatoes in things to thicken them up, soups and stews, and I bet it would work slightly, with I don't know. Yeah.
I've never done it with, I don't know if I'd want to put potato flakes in spaghetti sauce, but I do know that the cornstarch works. All you need is, of course,
that definitely works. Yeah. Yeah.
Start off small and then work your way up. You don't want to put too much at first because you can't take it away. But, do that. And,
I just want to say something before you go, because I know you wanted to keep it not too long. It's almost 8, imagine. That a simple bag of split peas, a simple bag of lentils, you could get them like $1.
Right.
Get that away. I'm not a huge bean fan, and everybody bean. Me personally, I am not a huge bean fan. That's why, in my case, I'll buy a can of like cannellini beans,
those are
pork and beans kind of thing, and it's just me. So for me to make 5 pounds of beans is silly, but I do like split peas. I do love lentils. So they make great soups, and the recipe is on the bags.
Mm-hmm. Now, another good I think that you tried just recently, that I helped you out on, is you just recently made an order from a pretty well-known online
It
company.
may ring a bell any moment. Don't get scared if you hear it.
I know that I turned you on to a certain brand name of chili, and you liked the balance that it had.
And I was never a chili person up until like a year ago. Never. Because
Mhm.
my last experience with chili was back in 2003, and I must have had a bad can because I got deathly sick from it. So I had a bad
Ooh,
experience. But then I just let me try this again. And I lucked out, and it was really good.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
you're going
again,
to say, I'm sorry.
it's okay. And again, and we both did this. I had mentioned it, what, 5 or 6 days back. I said it in a kind of a fly-by-night
Yeah,
kind
you did. Yeah.
I mentioned, go back to pasta, ramen noodles. This works. Again, ramen noodles, pasta, blank canvas. Get about a half a can of your favorite chili and add it and mix it in and sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese. Again, me and my Parmesan. And heat it up in the microwave for about a half a minute, 45 seconds. You will be amazed. That's a quick, fast, boom, there's your meal. You don't have to slave over.
No. And what a budget stretcher. If you have a family, I could tell you this, one can makes two generous, extremely generous servings.
It does.
You could get one brick of the ramen and you got that already done. Or if you rather use spaghetti or linguine, whatever little like long pasta, whatever you want to put, you could even a small shortcut pasta. You could throw the whole thing together. It is shockingly, it was really good.
Hmm. Let's see. Sharon Jackson writes here, well, Jan, you just passed those beans my way. I love bean and bacon soup. I
I'm
have
just
had,
not a bean person.
but let me tell you though, Sharon tapped on a good soup. I've only had it on a handful of times, the bean and bacon. It's really a very nice tasting soup. If you like the taste of bacon,
Mhm.
along with it, not only what I know it's a complex
I didn't grow
carbohydrate.
up eating a lot of beans. My family just didn't make them, so I
Right.
wasn't used
I
to it.
mean, I know that a bean is a complex carbohydrate, but it's also a good source of protein and fiber, you
It
know.
is, and it's as far as budget wise, it's great. But I do have specific beans I love. I love garbanzo.
Garbanzo.
I love those. They make a great salad. I
Oh,
love that, and I love cannellini. Those are my
mhm.
favorite. And whatever bean they ever use, like in those bush bean type bean, that bean I love. So
Baked bean. The one that
yeah,
they used in the bushes, the ones that they use in the bushes baked beans, I believe, is like a pinto type.
I
That's a
have to investigate. I really don't
that's a
know.
good one. Cannellini bean is nothing more than a white kidney bean. I don't know if you ever
It's
knew.
I like it, and I love it with well, there's a soup that I've made with that. It's quite good, and
Mhm.
I have to talk about that soup too. I've done that with cabbage, cannellini beans. It's a recipe. I believe that's listed too. I have to find that as well.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
video for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it
Well,
wasn't one that I deleted. But anyway, go
well,
ahead.
I'll keep my fingers crossed that you still have it, in your lineup. But share it. Yeah, definitely, pull it out of the archives or whatever, or small archive, and then, bring it back up to the subscribe. Again, what like I said, I'm still in incubator stage when it comes to having a channel. I'm slowly
I
gaining.
think you're doing perfectly fine. So there you go. And
Yeah, so
so do your viewers. So there.
right. So I'm still, in incubator stage. I'm, some of
Let's help Steve hit 50 subs today. How many are you away from 50, Steve?
4.
You're Steve is only 4 subscribers away from hitting
That's
50.
it.
If you're viewing this,
4.
if you have a friend that loves to watch dialogue, 9 out of 10 times I appear on Steve's show. I'm sort of like his channel contributor the way he was to me. So therefore, we love to talk about recipes and a whole bunch of other stuff, saving money. Share his channel. Show a little love. Show a lot of love. I'd really appreciate
What
it.
I want to do, because again, my channel, people have asked me, Steve, what's your channel about? I've actually gotten that in my comments. And
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to focus just on one thing.
Right.
If I can talk about, soups, recipes, money saving, store brand, name
You're
brand.
soup to nuts.
I don't want to talk about just that. I don't always want to talk about a credit card financial. What I need
Right.
to tell you what I want to do, and maybe you and I can come up with something. It would be a good
Sure.
thing. You did a trivia show yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find a trivia show. Now,
Sure.
most people would probably never know this about me, but it's true. I'm a music person. Do I like television and movies? Yes, I do. If I do anything when it comes to movies, I like soundtracks. I don't know why. I've always been a big fan of soundtracks, but soundtrack, the movie. But I am a music person, and I might want to see what I can come up with. Maybe not my next immediate coming up upload that I'm going to do maybe Tuesday of next week or something, or maybe the one following, maybe in a few days. I need to come up with a
Go
good.
for it. Do a music trivia show. I'm there.
Okay. I consider myself an old soul. I like all kinds of music. I can listen to stuff.
And guess what? You'll probably be celebrating your hopefully over 50 subs by then. It is a very pivotal moment for a video creator, hitting your first 50, hitting your first 100. If I didn't hit that first 100 maybe in a couple of weeks, at that point, I was ready to go away. There would be no live show at 6:15 a.m. There'd be no trivia shows. I started a bunch of things that others didn't do. I don't mean to brag, but I don't remember anybody else doing a trivia game around here. Just saying.
No, I don't either. Let's see. Sharon wrote also, if I haven't already sent to Jan, she'll have it shortly. So I'm guessing the bean and bacon, you may be getting it at some point. I'm just putting
Sharon saying this because I don't see the comments. So I'm sorry.
No, you don't. I'm just relaying it back to what I see here.
Steve, can you tap the comment on?
Let me see. How do I do that?
Just tap on the comment.
All right. There you go.
That's it.
Should.
Okay. I put on my song. Did you see that moment? I put on. I need coffee instead of tea. I was just drinking tea. Now I'll put on my glass. That was a live faux pas.
You'll be fine. Okay. It happens.
I'll be all right. If you haven't already sent to Jan, she'll have it. Well, thank you so much. Sharon, thank you for everything. Steve, thank you for everything, for all the stuff you do on my channel. So.
And she did verify it is the soup recipe. I just wanted to make sure. I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page with everybody. But okay, that's good. Now, Granny Prepper, she says, I like that name, Jan. Soup to nuts. To be honest with you, I honestly don't think I've ever heard it before. If I have, I might have heard it in.
Oh, no. I was just goofing that your random subject matter, anything, it means implied the word anything from soup to nuts. That's what I meant by that.
Okay.
Not like soup and then we're crazy. No, well, we can be, but.
Having to do with trivia show.
I did put on my sunglasses to look at this better. So
that's what I was about to harp on, and I know you remember it.
You stinker! Don't you dare!
Even though you say, and we know different. And again, people, Janet. Not that I'm trying to give away your age. Was in her 20s in the 80s. People, not 40. Not
Thank 50. You. Bless your heart.
All right.
Bless your heart that I wasn't 65 in the 1960s. Because I love music from the 60s and we have a thorough knowledge, Steve and I, it's how we met in a music group years ago. And, we became, really good friends and everything. So, come on. So people think because I was literally like 6, 5. I love Walk Away Renee. I was like 7. Not 27. Just saying.
It's like, again, I'm 46. I'm really more of an 80s child more than I am. The 90s, maybe the early, like 91, 92-ish, I'm good with. And then around 93, everything started to fade. I just got away from top 40 music. But you actually made me think of a song when you went to grab your sunglasses.
I can't believe I did that. The
Unfortunately,
magic of live.
too bad I'm not. Too bad this live is not at 8 o'clock at night, because I could say you wear your sunglasses at night. Remember that? I wear my sunglasses at night.
Yeah, you remember that?
Janet, I was like 10 years old when that came out. I was in elementary school.
Oh, but still, you remember that. Wow.
Yeah, why wouldn't I? That's like me asking you if you remember One Bad Apple by the
okay.
No, it's okay to bust people's chops, especially when you know one another, but it's okay.
Absolutely.
But
Steve's been busting my chops a few years now.
you're not so innocent yourself, but we'll just leave it there.
Never said I was.
Well, anyway, people, you see what kind of reaction just now. Think this is how Janet and I are on the video chat.
Think you're right about think. I didn't think.
Oh, how sweet. Granny Prepper says she's 68. She's old enough to be my mom. Oh, how nice. My heart, I'm sorry, but my heart just goes out, to mom. I myself was very close to mine. I'm not afraid to admit it. Yes, I was a mama's boy. End of story. I'm not afraid to admit it. If it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't know how to cook. I owe it to her. And of course, I would always take a recipe that she taught me, some that I learned on my own, some that she did teach me. I would modify it and make it my own. I did that too.
That's good.
Yeah. But on an ending note, I would like to thank you, Janet, for participating this morning.
Oh, an honor and a pleasure. I love coming on this show. I love being a channel contributor.
I want to thank everybody, Granny Prepper, Sharon Jackson, Rose B., your cousin Lee, anybody else that I hope I didn't leave anybody else, Linda Olson. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm just trying to expand my channel more, and I really
would appreciate it. And may I throw in one quick thing, Steve, about tomorrow, my live show while I'm here, if you don't mind?
Okay.
Where do you stash your cash? Come on, those sneaky little places at home. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. You don't have to tell me where you put your stuff, but I'm going to mention some interesting places that I have heard that people have stashed their cash.
Mm-hmm.
So come back tomorrow at 6:15.
I'll tune in for that, because you might have a little something that I may not know that you can teach me.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to bring this to a close. It was fun. Janet, thank you, as always.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye-bye now. Have a great day.
You too.